Tricia, I'm not sure if this idea of allowing your partner to have a friends of the opposite sex is a healthy idea or not. Because the other person might say, you know what, they are colleagues of mine. I can't stop it. I mean, I have to have colleagues / friends in the workplace. What should I do? I mean, can't I talk to them? Can't I have a meeting with them? Maybe a little coffee? Nothing more than that. I mean, what's your opinion on that?
Well, first of all, I would be very cautious of any partner who is allowing anything and needs to be given permission, and from the person allowing that's something they need to work on, because there's this definite control issue there, and a fear under that control. Control is always going to be about not believing that we can cope if it doesn't go our way. So I would question this allowing. But
so you're talking about the first person who's allowing, or the second person who's doing?
Well, just this concept that there needs to be a permission from the other party to have a life, to live their life, and to participate in their life with whoever that may be. I think that the issue for me really is not about, if I'm in a partnership, then that partnership is a free partnership. I can have friends, he can have friends, that's the way life is. If I'm feeling threatened, that's my work.
But wouldn't you feel jealous? I mean, if your partner is having already, let's say, a coffee meeting with she, wouldn't you be jealous that he's sitting there? And obviously, they might be talking about different topics. One of the topics, they might go on and talk about other things as well. Where is the limit? Where do you draw the boundary? You can talk about this, but not that.
Well, first of all, I'm not there.
You can have coffee, but not dinner. You can express yourself to her. You can complain about my wife. Well,
first of all, I'm not there, so it's none of my business.
All right.
And what I'd like to think is that whatever comes up out of that, and we've discussed earlier, words are pretty much words, but actions speak volumes. So if anything comes up out of any of those relationships that doesn't work for me in a true sense of commitment and loyalty, then I make decisions on that. I don't live in the fear that something could happen if my partner has friends.
And being cautious?
Well, everyone has their own reason to feel cautious, and what does that mean? I mean, it's really just to, again, protect ourselves from feeling something which is, I'm maybe not feeling very secure about myself, I'm not feeling that I can trust myself to cope if something happens, so therefore I project that onto you and I can't trust you. I think that relationships, many of my relationships have been involving other people, friends of those people and my friends, and they're people from work, they're people from walks of life, and there's no harm.
So you have no issue with that?
Yeah. I think that's where the boundaries come in. Like, you need to set boundaries as well, and of course, when you are in communications with anybody, not only the opposite sex but also anybody else, is about are you doing something that you would be comfortable sharing with your partner or not? If you're doing something
so it's like more personal boundaries you're speaking about.
I think language is a lot. There's a lot to do with language and body language, because if it's flirtatious, then that's a boundary.
But that's intention as well, right?
There's intention there.
If you have just recently this week client of mine, because I don't wear my wedding ring, I don't wear it, and we were having a nice chat about life and these sort of things, and then he at the end he asked me when I'm going to tie the knot. I'm like, oh, my knot's tied a long time ago, right? He's like, oh, because I noticed you didn't have a ring on. So I said, no, we don't wear rings. My husband and I don't wear rings, because it's about loyalty, and it's an understanding that we have between each other. You have to live that loyalty, not necessarily show the loyalty in a physical sense, So it's for me, it's I agree with you completely with the allowing. But my flip side to that is that if you have a fear of you know, having someone being, you know, of infidelity on the whole, then that fear is something you're gonna have to face, because that's how life works. Ironically, is that if whatever fears you have, whatever it is,
they're going to meet you.
You're going to meet you. So it's either you accept that possibilities exist in life, and you are strong enough to handle whatever is coming your way, but you're going to have to face the fear, and that's just what I've lived.
If you're living in fear,
you're living
yes,
in it,
but then you may be blindsided.
Yes,
you know, you may not have fear,
which is common,
of it,
Right.
and then something out of the blue,
and then it happens.
And of course, you know, workplace relationships are very common and very, very powerful, because you see that person
Every
in
day.
every state. You can see them when they've woken up on the wrong side of the bed. You can see them talking about their previous or their existing partner, so you hear about what's going on for them. You can see them when they've just had a bad meeting. Maybe they're struggling with something. So you see them in very many different ways, and you get to know them very intimately. And it can be the downfall of your own relationship.
That's where I actually caution not to discuss your relationship problems outside of your relationship.
Exactly.
Unless it's with a
therapist.
Yes. Or
it's nicely said, but it's very hard on the reality. I mean, on the real world, it's very hard, because sometimes, as Tricia and Dr. Vera said, people just talk, or people want to express themselves.
This is your decision.
It is.
Yes.
But what is more important for you? This is about priorities. Is your relationship the most important for you in your life, or is it not?
And I think that people also have different perspective and different interpretation on what's happening. You know, to call to say something is just flirting.
Yes. No, but then just
doesn't wash. Doesn't wash
no
with me.
There's no just flirting.
No,
you know what I mean?
There's a lot of intention behind it, and it's to be desired. It's to get attention. It's to feel important.
No, but
and it's also a lack.
But it's why would someone want to seek that attention outside? You know, what is it
when in
you?
a relationship?
Exactly. When you are actually in a relationship.
What can't they talk about? What can't they address with their partner? So I also look to me in that case. I think, well, if they're not talking to me, what am I doing for them to not be able to talk to me?
But it not necessarily could be you. It could just be that person themselves.
Oh, totally.
Right?
It's a 50-50.
So, or even sometimes even more to you, right? Because you have to then understand, why am I seeking attention outside of my relationship? Why am I not investing this energy in my relationship? Right?
Yeah.
Because
what is it that I'm not getting from this relationship that I'm getting there?
What am I not seeing? Because sometimes it is there, you're just not able to pick it up.
How is that going to solve the problem?
So if we come back to, do we have friends, right? And I like the word allow, because if you feel that you need to give permission to your partner to have a friend of the opposite sex or not, then that's a problem.
In that sense, yes. But what I mean is, generally, your partner would feel that, you know what, I know my wife, husband, allowing or not allowing internally. You don't have to sit down and say, listen, do you allow me to have a conversation with the opposite sex people?
Security, right? If you feel secure or not in your relationship.
I would bring in the communication again. You need to discuss that in the beginning of your relationship and during the course of your relationships. How do you feel about the relationship with other people, and how do you?
Of course, they will give you the super diplomatic answer, but then in reality, in the office,
that's exactly it. That's it. The communication, maybe. You know, you're absolutely right. I can see that this would be an issue. Blah blah blah, and yet you're not around.
No, but why is it an issue? You know what I mean? Like, why should it be an issue? You know, I mean, jealousy, I think, comes from a place when you are not confident in yourself and what you bring to the table,
and also past experiences.
And past experiences, right?
Triggers.
But even for me, I mean, I've had bad past experiences, but I am not insecure in my marriage in that sense, because I know what I bring to the table, and if it's not pleasing to you, the door is wide open.
And I can speak to that too. I have had very difficult experiences in the past, and yet in my marriage, I didn't see it coming. I didn't see the signs, and so I was absolutely blindsided. In fact, I was so confident that wouldn't happen because I didn't fear it. I had total confidence.
Right.
It was not the case.
Yeah, but that's the thing. But I mean, would you then go back and change your past and say, no, well, you wouldn't, right?
No,
exactly.
No.
But that's what I'm saying.
Because I wasn't living in fear of that either. I was enjoying my time until I got enough information to say, U-turn, wrong place.
But that's the thing. So it's like the issue of allowing to have friends then it's not an issue. It should not be an issue, because if it is an issue, it means you have deeper issues in your relationship and in yourself.
But doctor, you can't open the door for the other partner and say, you know what, you can have a friend as many as you want from the opposite sex and consider them to be absolutely gorgeous. No, it's not going to work like that, especially if your partner happen to be a very empathetic person by nature, listening to the other people. The other person, the opposite sex person, may be going through some difficult time, and with that compassion, with that empathy and sympathy, he might fall towards helping the other person.
But I disagree.
You can't control people.
No, you can't control what people feel. I agree, but you can't control people. But you can know when you are crossing the line, and you must know.
You do know. Everyone knows.
Everyone knows
the
when you're crossing the line.
The line bites,
and especially when you're approaching the line. I'm approaching the line.
And then you make a decision, and you think, will I be found out or will I not be found out? Will this get out? Will this will not get? Can I control this? I can control this.
Yes.
And off you go.
Exactly.
And also, we don't know what their intentions are of the others.
Exactly.
Maybe there's a whole plan to seduce.
Do you know any story? I'm aware of many stories, but do you know any stories that comes to your mind as soon as we say, you know what, should I allow my partner to have female or male?
But interestingly, if you want a story,
Friends.
right? So there's one couple. When they got married, the wife did not allow the husband to have female friends. Right?
Zero.
So all the female friends that he once had.
And that was based on agreement or just controlling?
God alone knows, I'm not in their relationship. But I have no idea what was the premise behind it. But what was interesting about that is years later how that played off. It was that the husband always remained loyal and listening, but the wife was the one who wandered off. So you would now think that boundary was put on because that person had the fear themselves, and not only that, they had the inclination to do the same.
So ruler maker, ruler breaker.
Yeah, so you understand? So instead of the person, so the wife saw the husband as having the potential that she had, right, to do the wrong. So that's why that limit was set. So again, that's why for me it comes back to, why do I want this or why do I not want this? Because that would be your indicator. So
what am I
really
looking
happening
for outside of my relationship? And I think that's key.
What am I not getting?
It's a shame really that we, as adults and humans who are responsible for a lot of things in life, we don't feel that pulsation or that impulse, and we don't feel that feeling of, oh, that's exciting to have a little bit of attention there, and we don't take it home and say, you know what, I felt a little bit different today, and I'd like to talk to you about it because I'd like that to be with us. I'd like it to be. I'd like that to be with
bring
us.
It back home, exactly.
I'd like that to be between us, and so I'm not interested in going outside. But what I really liked was the attention, and just to talk about it, and if need be, get some help.
Or maybe not even talk. You just do it yourself.
Yeah.
Like, do something to create this spark, whatever spark you had outside. Yeah. Try to bring it home, and that's on you. That's not on anybody else.
If you have a coping partner, I see it. If you don't have a coping partner, then this is a disaster, because as soon as you open your chest and your mouth and talk about whatever you want to talk about.
You can't talk to old people about old things. Granted,
there is something. I love it. It says not everything known can be spoken about, right? Yeah. Sometimes with some people you can't. Even your partner, your best partner, you can't talk about.
We all come into our relationships with baggage and history and scars and wounds and all the rest of it, and emotional needs, and it's sometimes unknown to the other partner what's going on for them and their driver, and we don't really know, and especially if that person is not terribly at ease at expressing themselves, then really the actions again are going to speak volumes, because that's where they're more comfortable.
Not only the expression, but also the awareness, the self-awareness. They like that. That's where it all comes from.
Yeah.
So would you allow your partner to have friends of opposite sex?
I would say the same thing like Tricia, that the whole concept of the allowing is a very tricky one, because it implies control, which I don't agree with.
Would you turn the blind eye,
inequality.
or would you talk about it?
What we do is actually, which I recommend as well, is to have those boundaries in place, and you discuss what are you comfortable with, and they should your relationship, your partner should be a priority. There shouldn't be anybody else in your life that's more important than that.
So-
Not even your kids.
So, okay, so prioritization, and your partner comes number one. Fair enough, but under the pressure of the moment with the other person, and you might be getting something extra on the table, more than what your partner is offering. Sometimes, as a human, we tilt the other side as well. Especially, as I said, if your partner happened to be very empathetic, and that friend
Depends on
is
how
going
much
through,
tilting and how often.
Exactly. So,
And how far they tilt.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's measure that tilt, shall we?
so where's the
Which
boundary?
angle?
Where's the boundary? Where could you draw that line? When? How? You know, if the other person calls or contacts your partner on the weekend,
So this is up to your
right?
partner to
With
set
tears
that
on the
boundary.
cheeks, say, "Hi, listen, I couldn't find somebody to talk to except you." And would you allow him to go out on the weekend by saying,
No, but they're
I need
welcome to
go-
come home. I mean, you are in a you are speaking to a
Yeah.
man who is in a relationship already with a woman, and we are partners here. So you want to cry, you cry with both of us.
Well,
There's no reason, there's
trust
really
me,
no reason for people
your
to cry
partner
alone.
is not going to share this idea with you. No.
But then if you know you're not sharing it, then you know something's up, right?
Right?
Yeah, whatever you're doing in
exactly.
secret, you shouldn't be doing.
Exactly. If you are in this situation where you know, like, you know what, my partner would not be comfortable with this, or actually put it the opposite.
I
If
should not
what
be
I
comfortable
yes,
with it.
like what I'm doing now, would I be comfortable if my partner did
Yeah.
this?
If
Would
you
I-
come to know, yes, but most of the time, how on earth would you know? That's how exactly we're going
Or the
back
truth
to
always
the
comes out, Abby. Like,
Yeah.
trust
Takes
me.
a bit of time, but
The
it
truth
comes to the surface.
always
How
comes
long?
out. Yeah.
How
yeah.
long does
I've
it take?
seen-
Yeah.
my own personal life, I mean, it happened, and the miracle for me was the miracle of prayer, right? Because I mean, I was going through a really tough time, and I was praying. You know, we pray that nightly prayer, the tahajjud. So every night, 2 o'clock in the morning, I would wake up and pray for 3 months, right? I've been doing this because I know something, but I don't know something. You know what I mean?
You don't have proof.
Yeah, I don't have any evidence.
Do you mean you were sensing something?
Sensing,
I see.
correct?
Gut feeling.
Yeah, I know. You know.
You do.
Women
You
know.
really do.
Yeah.
You did that for
You do, and then you act
We
on
know.
it because you know there's an intuition.
Exactly.
Relationship expert. Do you agree with her that you will feel something is going on?
I think so, yeah.
You think so?
Of course, that's what
Yeah.
makes you go looking. That's what's making
Exactly.
you feel it.
Yeah, you feel it, and you know, because there's a disconnect. There's a disconnect between you and your partner that wasn't there before.
And there's a behavioural
A
change.
behavioral change, exactly. There are lots of factors that clue you in. So again, so for me, this is just my approach, but everybody could do it differently. For me, was internally connecting spiritually, and then all of a sudden, the floodgates of evidence just started to flood in. You know, I was at the right place at the right time. The right people were calling me. The evidence opened up itself. So it doesn't matter what you do in the dark; it will come to light. And
I see what you mean.
You know,
So keep
I
it clean.
yeah, exactly.
clean.
Be
We're going to find
straightforward.
out
Be
about it.
upfront. It's going to come out.
I did ask the same question to so many of our clients. Would you allow, your partner to have friends of opposite sex? Most of the time, they said, honestly, if we have the choice, no. And I said, why not? And this is what they came up to. They said, you know what, there is a chance, even the slightest chance, but there is a chance that my partner might go along with that woman or man story. So I don't want that to start anyway. If there is something going to grow awfully, I don't want it.
Nip it in the bud.
Well,
Exactly.
nipping it in the bud, I guess it's how you nip it, right? Because nip it in the bud doesn't necessarily mean that you can't have friends with other people.
Yeah.
It just
Boundaries.
means that when
You
I
nip
pick
that
it up,
conversation in
you
the bud.
Exactly.
I had a client come to me
exactly.
just the other day who said, and he's recently dating a beautiful, wonderful woman. They've been together now 6 or 8 months. They're really happy, very honest. They've learned a lot from previous relationships, so they're very upfront and very, very honest. And her friend, who they've been socializing with for a while, all together as groups and go out and whatever, texted him
Oh,
Oh, that happens.
and asked him
That
if he
happens,
was
yeah.
available and wanted to come over. And he
Marriages
said, I
break up
am
because
very
of that,
much in
yes.
love with your best friend.
Oh.
Yes.
did she know? She wasn't aware
The best
of it.
friend didn't know, but until he told her and
No,
said,
no,
look.
the person who texted.
Yes.
Was she aware?
Yes, yes, yes,
she
yes,
was
yes.
aware.
So
Oh,
people
I
will
see.
test boundaries, people will
wants-
test
Oh.
intention.
It's up to you to set that boundary.
And if you meet
I
someone
mean,
who's just as
Yeah.
unlikely to maintain those boundaries,
Yeah.
but then you're spared. You spared a bad relationship.
Exactly,
You know?
exactly.
This is not a perfect world, and that's why you need to draw a boundary somewhere, somehow, to protect your own relationship with your partner. Because, don't get me wrong, divorce or breakup is not nice.
Right.
It's not lovely. It's not the best thing happens.
Oh, the more you do it, the better you get at it. It gets easier and easier.
It gets easier as you go along.
Yeah. It's almost like another one bites the dust.
That was a joke.
No, I'm kidding. I do apologise. I don't take it lightly because I have many clients who are going through, quite painful separations and divorce, and I really do. I'm only joking.
Right.
But
So the real world is not like that. I mean, where do you draw the line? It's absolutely difficult question. Do you stop it totally? It's not practical, especially now in the 21st century, whatever century it might be. But to draw the line precisely, it's extremely difficult. Talk to this person because this person, I believe, she has or he has beautiful intentions, yet don't talk to that person, although that person might be your boss, although that person might be, your
But
whatever.
you can't tell somebody, right? You can
can't.
probably advise, be like, I'm just sensing something here. Maybe you need to pay attention to what's happening in this and look and see how you where you see our future, husband and wife, where do you see us? Because you need to focus on where we are going rather than, what it might potentially be building here, and leave it in their court. That's my
Exactly,
my style and my strategy.
or if you're not even aware that there's, coffees and meetings up and texting or whatever you want to call it. If you're not even aware that that's happening, I still say trust them until you find something out that says you can't. Because otherwise you live in hell. You literally live in hell.
Would you bring it up? Would you bring it?
Well, if you don't know it's even happening, what do you talk about?
If you happen to sense it, as she said, in the end, I sense something.
Well, you could sense, yes, I do, and yes, absolutely, you do bring it up.
As you, right? In a relationship, you call it suspicions, right?
Yeah.
Well, you can bring it up, and then you can just see what comes back as a response.
Maybe
Well,
not
the response.
not as a
accusation.
attack.
Not as an attack.
Just more
Well,
like
it depends on
concern.
what comes up.
More like
If you have evidence, then still it's always better to address it as a concern rather than
Agreed.
attack.
So if you have evidence, that's it. It's a clear case that your partner is having a chat or whatever, a relationship with another person. Would you stop him from seeing the opposite sex now? Because now you have evidence. What would you do?
Isn't it already cheating?
It is 100%.
This is another discussion.
See? So we go back where you draw the line.
Well, it goes back to what you call cheating, what I call
Exactly.
cheating.
And
What you would let me do, let is an operative word, but what my partner would be okay with me doing, as opposed to, because it's all right to walk around saying, I can do it, but you can't.
No, but again, it comes back to the intention, right? Because you can be there to support someone. You can be there.
Self-control you're
whatever.
talking about,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Yeah.
and that's
Or
self-awareness.
self-discipline.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
self-awareness is a big one, because if you don't even see the impact that you have on people, or what you're bringing to the relationship, which is causing confusion and difficulty, then it's very difficult to even talk to those people.
Yes.
Exactly,
Yes.
and that's the thing. But even if just to get them to do that, sometimes you just have to plant these seeds for them to begin to understand what is happening or what you're seeing in themselves. Like I've noticed, you are doing things a bit differently since this happened. Is everything okay? Or did something happen? Would
Well,
you like
it depends
to share?
how you approach him. I mean, now you're saying it.
Exactly.
It sounds very beautiful.
Exactly.
But
exactly.
I know where she's going. And
Let's come back to earth first, shall we?
But that's how I do it. Like that's my style, right?
Yeah.
Because you can't, for me, you should not anyway, or none of us should accuse other people. Even if you have the best evidence in the world, there's always another side to that story.
True,
right?
True, but in the meantime, you still, you still have your what you need in life. If you're married, I think that speaks a lot.
Yes.
Right, and there are agreements to that marriage. There are vows taken and all the rest of it. So if your boundary is burst open, then you have every reason and every opportunity to say, well, for now it's not going to work for me. I'll come back and talk. Because
exactly. No, I agree with you. But again, we were talking earlier about nipping it in the bud. So like this is for me in the early stages, like when you now sense that something is happening,
Yes.
and you want to nip it in the bud. But you have to do it in a tactful way because you can't. And then you.
Did you
must know
say
your
a
partner.
tack way or tactful way?
Tactful.
and very true. And you're absolutely right to bring me back to the conversation, because it was
Yeah.
about whether they are allowed to have friends of the opposite sex. And really, that we're not talking full-blown affair or
Right,
infidelity there. We're just
exactly.
talking about
friends in the beginning.
And,
Exactly.
and again, I'll
Exactly.
say, bring it on, no
Yeah.
problem, until there's a reason to
Until
worry.
there's a
The
reason.
problem is with the word friend, it might be swapped with girlfriend or boyfriend. Another friend. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You know, our conversation landed where the other person might feel empathetic for their friends, and that it might go to stage 2 or level 2, and then it might be too late. You're breaking a whole relationship here.
No, but then you
commitment.
can pull back. Right? There's
Where
always
could
a
you
chance
go
to
back?
retract.
Where's the boundary? It's ambiguous. I don't think there is a boundary.
The boundary is in yourself. Like, you have to know when you have
What
crossed
works
the
for
line.
you,
Yeah,
what
works
doesn't.
for you.
Yeah.
Some people are. I mean, I've heard of people having open relationships and they're happy with that. And people do that in the West,
Yeah.
right? It's not something that I would.
They do it everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere.
To be honest, they do it everywhere. But
Right.
again, if you allow your partner to have friends from the opposite sex, of the opposite sex, where and when would you stop them? If you notice,
It's not your job to stop
right.
them.
That's what I'm
It's
here.
right?
That's what I'm
Yeah,
waiting
You're
for.
either
It's
in
not
a
your job.
relationship
Yeah, it's
or
not
you're
your
not.
job.
And
Exactly.
you leave it if
It's
that's the
their
case.
job to end that relationship. It's not your job to end the relationship. Oh, it's also my job to end our relationship. Right? But I stick within my portfolio, right? My portfolio is either you,
Yeah.
I either end us, or you end that. But I'm
Mm.
not controlling that. That's your choice. And I'll make my choice independently, you know, if I have to.
Yes, Anni.
That's why when I say that when you get into the relationship, you make your partner a priority, and then it's up to you to look for this relationship that are a threat to that new relationship. Maybe you have some old friends that have been like very close to you,
Or your ex-partner.
ex-partner as well. Exactly.
Yeah,
you
that
need
one
to
I have a
see-
little iffy about.
Yes, exactly. You need to see is that
We're going somewhere.
is that a threat to your existing relationship or not? And then it's up to you to set that boundary and make sure that this person knows that your partner is a priority. And
I love what you said.
you act accordingly, according to that belief and that agreement that you have with your partner.
I love what you said, that, you know what, let's sit down and agree together, and sit down and agree together that, you know what, you're not going to, you can't control. The thing is, we cannot control. In most cases, we cannot control or allow or give permission. Who should you talk to? Who shouldn't you talk to? Why? Where? It's going to get complicated.
You cannot change anything.
You cannot
Exactly,
change. You cannot
exactly.
control.
And you
You're not
take
going to
in-
be there
that
in the
is
meeting.
stress.
You're going to be there.
Yeah,
All right?
that's added a whole level of stress.
I think if
Yeah.
both partners, this is honestly what I believe, if both partners open their mind and open their hearts and they sit together, as you said, and make a huge commitment, final line that, you know what, I'm for you totally and you are for me totally. Now, if you want to go out with opposite sex and have a chat, have a conversation, feel them, or you know, they want to express themselves, go ahead. If you want to come home, I love that idea. Or you want me to be present in
Exactly,
there, I don't mind. And I'm open heart for you. You could really take care of that person, especially if you're a psychologist or a doctor or a specialist or a life coach. Please, this is your job. Help others who's seeking help. That's fine. But that's it. It doesn't go more. Let me have more sips. Let me
Yes,
be with you.
exactly,
Let me go to your apartment. Let me tug
And
you
it's
in
a
bed.
situational
This is not
awareness,
allowed,
right? You have to
right?
be aware of your situation.
Yeah.
You have to be aware of the context, and you can't play stupid. I'm sorry, right? Like there would be a point in time where some brain cells are going to kick in and realize that this is not the right place at the right time, right? And when that happens,
It's better to do it before that.
exactly, yeah, right? Yeah,
Right.
you have to be aware
Ahead of time.
exactly.
I think if both parties open up to each other, widely open. I don't know who of you said.
Yeah.
Be widely, as much as you can.
But
you know?
also, I think this. Personally, I have in the past had people approach me on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, and sort of started wanting to chat. And I've said, you know, I'm not going to continue this. I think this would hurt my husband's feelings if he thought that I was
Exactly.
engaging.
Yes.
So that not wanting to hurt his feelings overrules any attraction or any excitement that I could get from anywhere else outside of me. So it proves to me over and over I'm not in that situation now, so you know that's different. But it proved to me over and over that my consideration for how he was feeling was far more important than me seeking this enjoyment of being, you know, interesting to other people. And I think that when that's not reciprocated, you know, when that thought doesn't come, this would really hurt her if I pursued this. This would really hurt her if she found out.
Back to what you said, actually.
Yeah.
Back to what you said. You know what I remember, to be honest, Doctor? It comes to me, the word, it's a very strong word. Responsibility.
Exactly.
Self-responsibility.
Exactly.
You know, I'm responsible.
And discipline.
Exactly, and discipline.
Yeah.
I'm responsible for this family. Therefore, I must take care of my commitment. As you said, as a relationship expert, the most important word is commitment. I'm committed to this relationship. I want this relationship to flourish, thrive. As much as I can, I'm going to do my best. And therefore, if both the parties are open to each other, like an open book, listen, I'm going out with this person to help, not to do other things. And this is my job as a psychologist, as a preach, as anything. Then I believe actually, it's going to thrive somehow. But if, again, my self-responsibility is not feeding my beautiful intention, then I think you are not going to land somewhere nice. It might be really, really awful. So you said, you talked about loyalty, you talked about self-control, you talked about allow, you talked about commitments. All these words, I think they play extreme and vital and fundamental role in thriving your relationship with your partner. Having said that, what would you suggest? Would you allow your partner to have friends, and we leave it, friends of the opposite sex, or you know what, you have some boundaries? Please, we would love to learn from you as well. Share with us. Write something, write your comments. It will help. Meanwhile, from all of us, thank you for listening, thank you for watching. Bye-bye now.